Welcome back, travelers, to Legendary Lore, where today we are continuing the story in which Daifed has just shown up to tell Glacian he is actually possibly has a spark to become a planeswalker.
I'm a what?
A walker. So basically what happens is that Daifed is basically talking to Glacian like, hey, you could be...
Oh, that's sad because Hacker just passed away.
Did he really?
Age 72.
Well, besides that sadness, let's get back to the story. I don't want to think about it. So basically what happens is that Glacian is learning about the multiverse, but also Yawgmoth is there at the same time. And he's like, hello, Daifed. What is all this stuff you're talking about again? And she's like, oh, well, there's actually a bunch of different worlds, and there's all this stuff, and it's really cool. And he's like, I like what you're telling me.
Have you been to Japan?
He goes,
Kamigawa.
he goes, we'll talk about this later. First, I have to go to the council because apparently a bunch of people just showed up from all over the planet. And so basically what happens is the council is there, and there's minotaurs and minotaurs, elves, catfolk, they're all there, and they're like, Yawgmoth is evil? You can't have him here. He's dangerous. And they're like, what are you talking about? He's been helping our people. He's found all these people that happen to be sick. And they're like, no, he makes people sick so he can control the societies because he's the only one who knows how to cure them.
We live in a society.
So basically, what Yawgmoth had been doing while he was out there is torturing entire civilizations to the point where they were dependent on him, and he had complete control of them.
That makes sense.
But then Rebecca's there, and she's kind of like, but Yawgmoth is helping my husband, and he has such luscious, dark, curly hair. So
Ricky. I'm gonna zoom in on Yawgmoth. That is very straight hair. I don't know to what you're trying to refer, but
So basically, she convinces the council to keep Yawgmoth there and to banish everybody else. At the same time that's happening, Daifed reveals to Yawgmoth, because in the olden days, planeswalkers could take mortal beings anywhere. Daifed goes on a trip with Yawgmoth to reveal a plane that was nearby that she found really interesting. A plane that is just a luscious green world. It's like a paradise. It's basically paradise. And it has these 9 spheres, each one nested inside of the next.
oh, it's Russia.
Russian nesting doll. There it is. Okay.
That's based off the country.
So each of these different spheres essentially has a different elements of different environments and stuff like that. And at the very center of it, there's the core, where it's basically this giant dragon corpse.
Same.
Because a planeswalker dragon that we never know about, that is not Ugin, though at the time when Ugin was revealed, people started speculating that could be the case, that he was a spirit dragon, so he was the one who could...
It's like, oh, he's the spirit dragon, there is his body.
Yeah. So basically, this dragon planeswalker is in the core of this strange new artificial plane, and Yawgmoth is just absolutely fascinated. And Daifed's like...
So this was at the beginning of Magic, you could tell, because dragons were like the all-powerful being. It's like, that's a dead dragon. Mishra fuses with the dragon.
Yeah, this takes place about 5,000 years before Brothers' War.
How old is Urza?
Urza wasn't born yet.
What?
Yeah,
Urza wasn't always alive?
No.
Urza was born?
Yes, about 5,000 years after this.
But I thought he was a god. He always tells everybody he is, so I thought he was always there.
No.
What?
Yeah.
He just has a god complex?
No, duh. We'll learn more about that when we get to the Brothers' War.
I mean, we kind of already did it with the Urza eugenesis story.
Oh, yeah, we did do that. Okay, so... You're not wrong. So basically...
What I was making fun of.
So basically what happens is that Daifed kind of just leaves Yawgmoth there, just to hang out. Because there's also... They had the ability to make a Thran portal that is based, around the... There's, the portal...
Is that a Thran ability or Planeswalker ability?
It's a Thran ability.
Okay.
The Thran were able to make a portal that leads to that plane.
That's a card, right? Thran portal?
Yes.
Oh.
And so basically... And it'll become clear how they managed to... where they put that and where everything takes place. But suffice to say that while he's there... This is kind of jumping ahead a bit. While he's there, he would regularly go and start experimenting on the body of that dragon planeswalker, trying to find the planeswalking organ.
Okay.
To no luck. At the same time that happens, Yawgmoth also decides that if he's going to build a portal to be able to go there...
Oh, so Yawgmoth would have loved Bolas.
Yes.
It's like, oh, so you found a spark. That's basically a planeswalking organ. What's an organ? I'm after power, you foolish cloud.
You foolish cloud. So basically, while all that's happening, Yawgmoth also decides that he needs more muscle because people are basically starting to like question his authority. So he goes down into the Caves of the Damned, knowing there's a ton of people there who he could help and that would then be indebted to him. And he sees the biggest guy ever. But because Yawgmoth is this ridiculous surgeon person, he basically just starts like cutting all the, like his tendons and stuff until the guy's on the ground like...
Hey, I'll put those back if you work for me.
Yeah, essentially. And so he takes over the Caves of the Damned. He creates an entire like complex down there.
Did prison rules.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I'm your all's leader if I take out the biggest person here, right?
Yeah, essentially. And so he creates this giant tent, essentially, for everyone that's sick to go down there and he can take care of them. It's a big, like, quarantine deal. It's also down here where he puts that Thran portal so that he can go from that area and just kind of go into Phyrexia and experience everything that's happening there. It doesn't take long for him to start releasing a bunch of symptoms that can explain what's going on. Stuff like if you have a rash, you might be infected with this phthisis. If you have a fever, you could be it. If you have a cough, if you have paranoia, if you begin to question anything Yawgmoth is saying, you might have phthisis.
Do I have phthisis?
If you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you don't have anxiety, if you don't have depression. So basically what would happen is that Yawgmoth would be able to take anyone that he thought was like against him, like a politician, and be like, oh yeah, he's got phthisis. He needs to go down there. I'll take care of him. And it's like, what? But it starts to work because anybody that's like, I think he's just trying to control us. He'd be like, oh, there's that paranoia. He's got it. Got to take care of that.
So he's basically replacing everybody that doubts him up there with everybody he's taking control of down there.
Essentially.
That's cool.
All these healed people. The thing is, it's not enough. Gixen is now, he's getting a lot better with all these treatments. And he's starting to get these augmentations, fleshy augmentations by this point. There's no metal involved yet. But he's basically just making him a better person. Better. And so Gix is like his right hand. At the same time this is happening, Rebecca is starting to realize that Glacian is still getting sick and maybe Yawgmoth's the one doing it. But at the same time all that's happening, Yawgmoth has started actually working on this plane. This pocket dimension that he discovered, the very lush, very green everything. He's moving people that are in need of advanced treatment onto this plane so that he can take care of them there. And while he's there, he's basically like hijacked the entire plane. After having absorbed essentially the essence of the dragon into himself, he now has complete control of that plane.
How do you absorb the essence of a dragon in yourself?
They don't explain.
Okay.
But I'm guessing it was a really hearty meal. So basically what happens...
You guess that about everything.
Yeah. So
you guess that about a legendary Pokemon.
It's also true. It's fair.
Ho-oh.
So basically what happens is that he starts taking all these people down there, and instead of phthisis, which is the idea that things are slowly degrading, instead it's about a constant progression, or Phyrexia.
Ooh.
And he calls the plane, as a result, basically a plane of progress. Phyrexia.
Oh.
So he names this plane Phyrexia, and he begins to change things slowly on the plane. Slowly encouraging more and more people to go there, and they never come back because they love the plane so much. And as he's strolling along, he's showing Rebecca all of his fantastic creations. And she's just kind of... She hates him so much. But at the same time...
I thought you loved me. I found out what you were doing to my husband. That isn't what I asked.
See, but that's the thing. She doesn't reveal that to him.
Oh.
She gets all the way to the center of the spheres. The 9th sphere. Yawgmoth's control center.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, now that we're here, and you can't run away from me, and I've gotten everything I can out of you, I'm ready to take you. And she's like, excuse you. And so basically what he does is he actually... It's such a twisted thing. He basically tries to enter her, every cell, to kind of meld and become...
So he's like part cloud at this point.
Yeah, I'd say more Sephiroth, but he basically he's trying to hijack her entire existence, and so he pierces her mind, and he's inside of her trying to take control of her. And it's at this point that she basically hits him with this hatred, all the hatred that had been building up. She just starts pounding him with it, and he's just like, "Whoa, wait! I thought you were in love with me. I thought I had completely fooled you." And the hate that she has for him actually forces him out, and he's like, "You know what? Forget you. I'm gonna go build more people," and he just leaves. And he's like, "You can find your way out." And so,
because I'm Thran too.
And so basically, what happens though is that his taint is on her.
Reword that, please.
He has tainted her.
Okay.
So using his taint, she's basically able. What's wrong? I don't understand. Why are you laughing? So basically, by thanks to his taint, she's able to basically see.
Can't even do it.
It's your fault. Because of that, she's able to see what's inside of Phyrexia and kind of figure out what's going on, to the point where she sees that Dyfed is actually still there. She thought she had just left, but no, he has had Dyfed basically on a surgical table with a bunch of his stitchers, looking and trying to find Dyfed's spark.
What colors would Dyfed be if she was a planeswalker?
I would say green and white.
Yeah?
Because of the way she's diametrically opposed to her Yawgmoth.
Okay.
But honestly, they don't give her enough character for us to actually see what her color
I was
is.
going to say, just like, she doesn't sound like she'd get a card because she doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that's the problem.
She planeswalks.
She's just, she shows up, talks about planes, then she dips. And then she winds up actually being here. Now, the way it's described is her organs are all just laid out. And she's a planeswalker, so she can't actually die. But there's also a machine attached to her head that's constantly scrambling her brain so that she can't focus and planeswalk away. Yes. And so basically Rebecca's there and she unplugs her and lets her die. And it's at this point that Rebecca's like, I have to stop Yawgmoth in any way I can. But that is all to say, they have nothing to stop him with. He's taken over the entirety of the city. So she starts basically going to all the different tribes and groups all over the plane and telling them, hey, Yawgmoth's bad. And they're like, no, duh. But it's because of this that Rebecca is kind of like the main thing that has been able to try and stop them. She's the main force opposing Yawgmoth. Even after everything that happened, even after she was seduced by him, she's the thing that can stop him. And that's only if she's successful. Otherwise, Phyrexians could become a huge threat somewhere down the line.
I'm sure that won't happen three times.
So basically,
At least.
that's what we're going to be seeing in the next and last episode. Is what is the culmination of her efforts and Yawgmoth's.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to go ahead and catch you guys next time with some more legendary lore featuring the Thran. Go ahead and leave a like if you like the video and subscribe. You don't want to miss the end of the Thran.
Thran.
Because that'll be the beginning of the Brothers' War.
Yes.